Sacred Oaths and Vows, Numbers 30, 1 through 2. This is the third vlog about the third commandment. Today we're going to discuss about oaths and vows in the Lord's name. In Deuteronomy 5:11, it says that you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Now, some Christians believe that it's forbidden to take an oath or a vow. And the reason is because there's some verses in the New Testament that seem to say that. But is that true? Does it forbid it? Okay, those verses, we're going to discuss those later in the next vlog. We're going to put those aside for now. Now, does God forbid making oaths? Well, there's verses in the Bible that, talk about this, that this happened in the Bible. People were giving a holy vow, an oath. And, for example, Abraham, he made a covenant with Abimelech, and he gave an oath in that. Also, King Asa and the people of Judah. Now, they made vows when they were seeking God to help them change and reform their worship. They made a vow to God that they would do this. Now, God himself, he made a vow. He made a vow to Abraham that he would keep covenant promises with him. We know that our holy creator, made these vows. So when we read about that, so are vows sinful? No. If you need to make a promise, the reason is because we're sinful people. And some people, they'll talk and they'll say, oh, I'll do something, I'll do it. And they're never intending to do it. That's a tendency as humans that we have. Okay, now, does that mean that people, that they're all lying? That that's all they do? No, people tell the truth also. The verse means that people have a tendency to twist the truth, or maybe try to back out of a promise. And that's the reason that we need to make vows sometimes. Other people, they know that they could be sure of our word. Reason that we make vows, in God's name. Well, reason is because we're informing people that our word is really truthful. And also, that we're willing to suffer God's judgment, if we break our promises. And, even though other people can't see that we're breaking our promises, God knows. God sees it. And he will hold us accountable. God makes vows, but it's different than when we make vows. God never fails to keep his word, but we do. When he makes these vows, why does he do it? Well, he does it for us because it's hard for us to trust. The problem is not with him, it's with us. It's because in our human sin we face temptation to doubt him. Now, an important part of taking an oath, making a vow, it's important that our heart at the time is true. When we make a vow, the word that we're speaking needs to be truthful. Like a person on a witness stand, a witness, and they're planning to keep the truth, and they make a vow that they're going to do. Not like they got their fingers crossed behind their back saying, "Oh, I will, I will." No. The person making the vow, in their heart, they're planning to keep their word. And that's very important when the person does that, for them to keep this. Later, if they break their vow, it means that whatever they said, it's false. God will hold them accountable for that also. Now, how do we apply this to our Christian life? Well, to make a holy vow in the name of God is a serious thing to do. It's very serious. And people need to really think before they do this. And when they make a vow, the person needs to plan, that they're going to keep this vow. If the person says, "Oh, okay, I will," but they're not making any plans to keep it, that means that the person is in sin and you're taking the God's name in vain. A long time ago, I had a friend and we were planning to go on an early morning flight. It was about 4 in the morning. We need to think, who's going to drive us to the airport that early in the morning. And my friend, he found a businessman that he was willing to, pick us up and take us there. He was planning to fly out around the same time, so it was perfect. So early in the morning at 4 o'clock, the man came, he picked us up, and we learned then that his flight had been canceled. We looked at him and said, "You were still willing to come and pick us up? Even though your flight was canceled?" And the man said, "Well, yes, I keep my promises." And I was really impressed by that he was willing to get up at that time of the morning, drive and pick us up and drop us off the airport and then go back home. It impressed me. God saw that this man was telling the truth. Even though, he could have said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my flight's canceled, get somebody else, I'm sorry, I can't do it." But he did not do that. He kept his promise. And that was important to him to do that. And it's important for us to keep our word. It made me think that I want to keep my word better also to people. To help them to do whatever that I can. If I make a promise, I want to keep my word. Wow. Coram Deo.